everyone! Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure complete balanced nutrition with 27 vitamins and minerals, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
And there it is, the book club to end all book clubs. All in a beautiful backyard setup you created for an amazing price at Marshall's. Anything can happen with a patio like that.
Tomorrow on ET, our James Corden exclusive, talking his late night exit and his next drop the mic moment.
We'll burn this bridge when we get to it, you know?
Then, before Top Gun Maverick flies into theaters, what you never knew about the original.
You'll just have to see.
Because, just to remind everybody, E.T. was on that set.
I mean, was there ever any doubt? Of course, we were everywhere. Now listen, before we go, put on your bamboo earrings, get your face.
Happening now.
San Antonio City Council passing a new police union contract, but some think it doesn't go far enough.
And she's charged with tampering with evidence in her own son's death. Delaney Chaidez in court today taking a plea deal. What the family of baby James is saying about that deal and when the mother could face sentencing. Next.
Some record high temperatures could fall in the days ahead. We'll talk about which ones and how hot it'll get, along with the new drought monitor updated today. The News at 5 starts right now.
And first at 5, we begin with breaking news. An argument between neighbors ends with one in the hospital. This happened along Northwest 24th Street near Ruiz. San Antonio police telling us that a man went to his neighbors with a knife and was making threats.
So then the homeowner pulled a gun and shot that man twice. That's what police are saying. He was taken to the hospital in critical but stable condition. But the shooter in this case could face charges pending an investigation. SAPD says that this has been an ongoing feud between those neighbors.
The city of San Antonio and the local police union have a deal. The city council approved their new contract today in an 8-3 vote.
It includes numerous changes to officer discipline, but not everyone thinks it does enough. Our Garrett Berger takes us into that emotional debate.
And I don't understand how my council colleagues are going to go back out into the community and explain that how a vote no wasn't a vote to defund.
Emotions ran high ahead of the police contract vote. But while there were concerns over more SAPD spending,
every increase that we make is permanent and must be taken seriously.
Opponents to the contract say their objections aren't about so-called defunding.
In fact, these officers are getting a pay increase, and we didn't even touch that at all. What we're talking about here is accountability, is transparency, is having strong civilian oversight.
The new contract, which runs through September 2026, changes officer discipline in several ways, most notably making it harder for fired cops to win their jobs back on appeal.
There's not a member on the San Antonio Police Officers Association that wants bad cops here. It leaves a mark.
But police reform activists think there's more to be done, especially on civilian oversight. The city has a review board of civilians and officers, but its recommendations are non-binding.
We deserve a seat at the table when it comes to the policing of our community.
Council members for Districts 1, 2, and 5 voted no on the contract.
My no vote is in the hopes that we can go back to the bargaining table with all of the community concerns that have been raised prior to this vote.
But the majority decided this is the best deal for now.
I feel that any additional ask or negotiation at this point would require the sacrifice of some progress that we've already made.
Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
She was set to face trial this month on charges of tampering with evidence in her own son's death. But today, Delaney Chaidez accepted a plea deal instead. Chaidez pled no contest to one of 2 charges of tampering with evidence. The first charge was dropped as part of the deal. Her 18-month-old son, James Chaidez, was reported missing in January of last year. During the investigation, police found a bloody crib sheet inside the mother's home. In late April of 2021, baby James' remains were found near the mobile home where he and his mother lived. Family members of baby James speaking to KSAT today after the hearing, saying a tampering charge is not enough.
Somebody has to be held accountable for this loss, and it wasn't him that did this to himself.
We want to make sure that everybody understands that this plea arrangement has in no way acknowledges her responsibility in the death of this child or even a crime being committed as it relates to this child.
Chaidez is scheduled to be sentenced August 8th. She could face more charges pending further investigation.
Now we're learning more now about last night's deadly crash on the south side. The Bexar County Medical Examiner has identified the man who died as 21-year-old Jamie Bettis, but we still don't know the name of the second victim. All we know is that she was 19 years old. The two were found around 10 o'clock last night. They were inside an overturned car that was partially submerged in water on Research Plaza and South New Braunfels. Investigators say that they saw tread marks at the scene, and that's why they think the driver veered off the road and hit a curb before slamming into a tree and rolling over.
San Antonio police arresting a man this week who they say had a pipe bomb in his car. This is Christopher Friedrich. According to arrest records, he was reported as a suspicious person on Wednesday when he was sleeping in his car. That car was parked in the middle of a neighborhood. Investigators say the pipe bomb contained gunpowder, a ball bearing, and metal arrowheads. SAPD classified that device as an explosive and determined that was enough to charge Friedrich.
A big update now on the deadly Capitol attack from last year. The top Republican in the House, Kevin McCarthy, has been subpoenaed along with 4 of his GOP colleagues to testify before the House Select Committee.
And this comes a month before the panel is poised to begin a series of public hearings. ABC's Faith Abube in Washington with the latest.
Tonight, a dramatic turn for the House January 6 Select Committee, issuing 5 subpoenas to compel some of their own Republican colleagues in Congress to testify about the efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. The new subpoenas naming Republican House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Congressman Andy Biggs, Mo Brooks, Scott Perry, and Jim Jordan. According to the January 6 panel, the GOP congressmen have relevant information regarding what led to the deadly January 6 Capitol attack.
I asked him personally today, does he hold responsibility for what happened? Does he feel bad about what happened? He told me he does have some responsibility for what happened. And he needs to acknowledge that.
McCarthy can be heard telling fellow House Republican leaders that former President Trump bears responsibility for the deadly attack. McCarthy reacting to the news of the Select Committee's subpoena today.
They're not conducting a legitimate investigation. It seems as though they just want to go after their political opponents.
The committee has also called Jim Jordan a material witness, saying he forwarded text messages to then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, detailing how the election could be overturned.
We've collected an awful lot of information, and some of that information has bearings on members.
But the committee is escalating its attempts for more information after the GOP congressman refused to voluntarily cooperate with the investigation. In a statement, committee chair Benny Thompson writing, quote, "We are forced to take this step to help ensure the committee uncovers facts concerning January 6th. And the committee has already conducted 1,000 depositions and interviews, including with members of former President Donald Trump's family. The public hearings are expected to begin June 9th, with a final report to be released sometime in the fall. In Washington, Faith Abube, ABC News.
Today, we mark a tragic milestone here in the United States. 1 million COVID deaths.
Yeah, news of this milestone comes as cases increase in a number of states, and the CDC is reporting that 40% of COVID deaths in January and February were among people who were vaccinated. Doctors say that may be because the vaccine's efficacy wanes over time. Right now, the FDA is considering a recommendation to encourage more people to get the COVID vaccine at the same time as when they get the flu vaccine, but the FDA has not announced a decision just yet.
Drought conditions causing more issues in California. Right now, crews are still battling the coastal fire. It's burned through more than 200 acres and will likely grow worse. So far, about 20 homes have been destroyed. Officials blaming extremely dry conditions and coastal winds that picked up overnight. One man rushing home to find nothing left.
You just got word from your son that he saw your home on fire on TV?
Yeah, I did. He just called me and said, Dad, I think our house is on fire.
Can you imagine? Investigators are still trying to determine how this fire started.
Wow. Got to feel for people whenever that happens. All right, now here at home, we're taking a live look outside here. This is along the north side. This is 410 west along Cherry Ridge, and you can see, yep, there is a lot of traffic there. Both lanes there, obviously some lanes there are blocked off to traffic, so that's causing some issues. But just to let you know, if you're waiting for anybody who usually takes that route home, they're going to be a little late.
Nothing but sunshine in our sky today, 95 degrees. The high temperature, the average being 86. The record high today, 101, set back in 1967. So another day in the 90s. We'll have an update at 6 o'clock. Sometimes the newest climate report from the National Weather Service right before 6 o'clock has an updated high temperature. But so far today, 95 at the airport. Del Rio, Warren's backyard, 97 degrees, 91 in West Kerrville, 94 in Schertz. Myco 96 degrees, Utopia 95. You get the idea. More of the same, well in the 90s. Falling through the 80s this evening, mostly clear, a southeasterly breeze at 10 to 15. Parts of our area could actually see some storms. We'll dive into that, show you the futurecast coming right up.
All right, thank you, Adam. May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and health experts want to remind people how important it is to get help.
Yeah, the National Institute of Mental Health says that 1 out of 5 people lives with a mental illness, yet half of adults don't seek help or even receive treatment. Experts say that just as you go to a doctor when you sprain your ankle, you should also see a mental health expert when you're not feeling well.
As a Hispanic population, we sometimes don't always speak about these things, and it's seen as taboo, and it's not. It's not. The more we discuss it in our generation, this is where we are fixing it, the more we talk about it.
Yeah, that's how we address it. Now, the more we talk about mental health is also the first step to getting help. So ask your friends how they're doing, because that's pretty much where it starts.
This story getting a lot of attention today. Texas is the newest state to no longer allow Instagram users to use certain filters. It's part of a lawsuit filed back in February against Facebook and Instagram's parent company, Meta. State Attorney General Ken Paxton suing the company, saying that it unlawfully collected biometric data without users' informed consent. That's illegal in Texas. That data includes things like retina or iris scans, voice prints, and records of hand and face geometry. Meta is denying these claims, but as of yesterday, the augmented reality filters people once used no longer available in Texas. Illinois also has a lawsuit against biometric data that prevents users there from using those AR filters. Now, filters that are limited to changing a color or the background, they're still available. You can read more about Meta's response to this lawsuit right now on KSAT.com. Fighting hunger is a topic that we touch on frequently here at KSAT, and today a group of students at Burbank High School, they stepped up to help.
Listen to this. They harvested 2,500 cabbage plants for the San Antonio Food Bank. This labor of love stems from the students' common goal of giving back to the community. Their teacher, Jeffrey Brownie, says that the idea of growing and donating crops came up a few years ago after students went to Washington, D.C., and that's where they learned about civic duties and the need for food.
He says they returned wanting to do a canned food drive, but the idea grew into something more.
I just threw this scenario to them of how about though, they said then the young man brings in 5 cans of food, but that was all the food that that young man had for the weekend for his family. And they said, yeah, that does happen here in our community.
Bronny says today's harvest is about 5,000 pounds of food. He credits Palo Alto College for growing the seedlings and then transferring them to Burbank to make it all happen.
Awesome. Now, still ahead at 5, I have a question for you. How much are you paying for your prescriptions? Yes, we know they're expensive, but you also need them to stay healthy, right? So we're going to tell you where you can find prescription drugs that are both safe and affordable when we come back. So here's a look at what's coming your way on the news at 6 o'clock. Years worth of headaches, dozens of shootings that kept neighbors on edge, now over. A problematic East Side bar was demolished. And coming up at 6, Alicia Barrera is going to share how homeowners and officers feel about the future of that neighborhood without the Twin Sisters Cantina.
Plus, a young San Antonio Scrabble star is on his way to Washington to compete for a national title. Coming up at 6 o'clock, RJ Marquez goes one-on-one and tells us about this 12-year-old prodigy who has a unique way with words. Today at 6.
New at 5, some of you are paying hundreds of dollars every month for your prescription medication, but you need to, right? Well, as 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz reports, a solution may actually be in online pharmacies.
The price of prescription drugs is enough to make you queasy. Nicole Phillips takes generic Strattera to manage her ADHD, but she just can't afford it.
Because of my high deductible, it was over $800. I stopped using because of the cost.
The Kaiser Family Foundation found that 3 in 10 adults said they did not take their prescription as directed last year because the cost was too high. It's not just uninsured people who struggle to afford these. Many insured people have high deductibles that they have to meet before the benefits kick in. So, what can you do? It can pay to look online. Retailers like Amazon and Costco offer discounted drugs, and there are more and more websites that do too, like Genius RX, Honeybee Health, Scriptco, Row Pharmacy, Mark Cuban's Cost Plus, and Health Warehouse. To see if the savings are real, Consumer Reports compared prices.
Overall, we found prices online to be pretty low.
They found substantial savings if you order multiple months. For example, at Row Pharmacy, a 30-day supply of generic Lipitor is $9.90. A year's supply is less than $20. On the downside, you might not find your exact prescription.
Several of the sites that we checked aren't full-service pharmacies, so they may not offer insulin or even brand-name drugs. They pretty much only offer low-cost generics.
They also may not do as good a job as your local pharmacy checking for dangerous drug interactions. Bottom line, these sites may save you money, but if you have a lot of prescriptions, personal service may be best. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
All right, something to consider. Now we're going to take a live look outside right here. 96 degrees, but I got to say the sky looks beautiful and blue.
It does, and I kind of chuckle because there is not a cloud in sight. If you're looking for some shade.
Nope. No natural shade out there today, and not as smoky in the sky either. The past couple of days, we had a little extra haze as a result of some smoke coming in from the agricultural burning in parts of Central America and even down into Mexico, but not as much of that today. Here are our headlines. Record challenging heat on the way. Another weekend with some record highs likely. A few storms are possible tomorrow for specific areas. We'll get into that in a moment. And the newest drought monitor is in. Of course, it's not exactly good news. I wish I had good news for you, but here it is for you. And you take a look at this, and there are actually some parts of our area that aren't as bad as others. I mean, you get farther to the northeast of San Antonio, closer to Austin, than especially Bryan College Station, north of Houston. Not even a drought, even Lufkin area. However, you go west of 281, we're talking Lakey, Uvalde, Sabinal, Hondo, Pearsall, Pleasanton, and even basically Bandera, city of Medina. That's where we have the exceptional drought, this darkest color, and that's the worst category of drought that's in the drought monitor. Across the state, 79% of Texas in drought. The lack thereof is especially East Texas and even just north of Dallas, Fort Worth, closer to the Red River, and a little speck of it there south of San Angelo, where we've had some of those afternoon and evening pop-up storms. And just like we do right now, one thunderstorm in West Texas, a few likely to develop in parts of Mexico this afternoon and evening, but they are not going to make it to the Rio Grande. Whereas tomorrow could be a little bit of a different story. There's action out there. It's just far to the north of us now. Severe weather has been pushed up the plains and even closer to the Northland. We don't have the activity around us. At least not the big main forcing to get things going. But let's talk about our futurecast. We'll have some low clouds to start the day tomorrow again. Some periods of cloud cover through about 10, 11 a.m. We get into the afternoon, a lot of sunshine. Now, notice this, 4 or 5 o'clock, we'll have some disturbances coming in from the west. Not a very strong flow aloft to really push those along, but could be enough still to where we'll have those storms flaring up in the higher elevations of Mexico and West Texas and along the dry line. And by 5, 6 o'clock, some of those storms could drift into Valverde County, even Edwards County, Real County, and point southward, basically up and down Highway 16 and westward. That's the most likely area where we would have it. And of course, we can't rule out a stray isolated storm closer to the border tomorrow afternoon and evening. Highly unlikely any of that or the remnants of it would make it near San Antonio. 95, dew point is 63, so it feels like 96. Feels like it's only 1 degree warmer than the air temperature. These dew points have dropped off a bit this afternoon, as they often do, so we don't have that oppressive humidity out there right now. 100 at Stinson. That's the current reading on the south side. Devine 97, Pleasanton 98. Converse, meanwhile, 92, along with Seguin and Bulverde at 91 degrees. But here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. And we fall through the 80s and 70s this evening. Tomorrow morning, an even 70 at 7 a.m., mostly cloudy, and then sunny by the noon hour, 80 degrees. 4 o'clock, a high temperature of 96. And that's going to be the high through about 6 p.m. And most of us well into the 90s again tomorrow afternoon. Records are likely to fall this weekend. Saturday, records 97. We should be there. Sunday, records 96. We're expecting 98. And Monday, 100 degrees in the forecast.
Ooh, all right.
Exactly. Just the sound.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Adam.
So we're seeing more of the Cowboys' schedule.
Yeah, in fact, the Cowboys themselves just announced their season opener, and I like it a lot. When we come back, we'll let you know who they'll go up against on their very first game of the 2022 regular season and a holiday for Milwaukee. You'll see what I mean when we come back.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
Today is the day the full 2022 NFL schedule will be released starting at 7 p.m. tonight, but portions of the team schedules have either been released already or leaked out, such as the case of the Dallas Cowboys. According to New York Post, the Cowboys will host the New York Giants in the annual Thanksgiving Day game, and their season opener, according to the Cowboys now, will be September the 11th at home against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Again, that's according to the Dallas Cowboys themselves. The NFL has already announced that Mike McCarthy will make his first return to Lambeau Field as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys on November the 13th. That's week number 10 of the NFL season. McCarthy was the head coach of the Packers for 13 seasons, led Green Bay to the Super Bowl title in 2010, ironically in the Cowboys' AT&T Stadium. He's fired in 2018, taking over about a year off before he's hired by the Dallas Cowboys. The NFL also announced that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs will face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Raymond James Stadium in week 4 of the NFL season. That's on October the 2nd and on Sunday Night Football, and in their first head-to-head competition since the Super Bowl 55 in Tampa Bay in 2021, which the Bucs won easily, 31-9, and gave Tom Brady his 7th Super Bowl title. In recognition of their 75th anniversary, the NBA announced trophies honoring such pro basketball legends as Larry Bird and Magic Johnson to go along with Bob Cousy and Oscar Robertson. The NBA Western Conference Championship Finals MVP trophy will be named after Earvin Magic Johnson, the Lakers legend, and the Eastern Conference Championship MVP trophy will be named for Celtics Hall of Famer Larry Bird. Together, Bird and Magic helped revive the NBA starting in 1979. The Western Conference Championship trophy will be named after Oscar Robertson, who helped lead the Milwaukee Bucks to their first NBA title in 1971, and the Eastern Conference Championship trophy after Bob Cousy, who won 6 NBA titles with the Boston Celtics. Now, what a finish last night by the Milwaukee Bucks against the Celtics in Boston in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final Series. After being down by 14 points, the Bucks bounced back big time. First, Drew Holiday hits a three-pointer, tied the game at 105 all. After that, Bobby Portis with a putback for Giannis Antetokounmpo missed free throw to give Milwaukee the lead, and then Drew Holiday comes up with 2 of the best defensive plays in the history of the playoffs. Marcus Smart driving the basketball here. Smart gets blocked by Holiday, who then has the presence of mind to throw the ball off of him while falling out of bounds. And then with one last shot to tie it, Holiday picks Smart's pocket right there at midcourt. The game was over, and the Bucks won at 110-107, and now 1-1 away from heading to the Eastern Conference Finals. It didn't get much better than that defensively. You just wrote the book on that one.
That was a game.
That was great.
Thanks, Greg.
We'll be right back after this.
Some triple digits on the map tomorrow. Cotulla, Laredo, about 101. Eagle Pass, 97 degrees. We're just going to be well in the 90s again for most of us. More of the same. Stone Oak, 95. Timberwood Park, 93. And Castroville, 97. Records likely to fall here and there this weekend and into the early part of next week. Should be good viewing for the total lunar eclipse. Totality starts at 10:29 p.m. Sunday night.
All right. Fabulous. Well, thank you for watching the news at 5.
World News is next. We'll see you back here at 6.